To those of you joining us today, thank you for watching the Woburn Spotlight. I'm your host, Tyler Gates, here to bring you some positivity by talking to those in town making big strides for the greater good. Today, I'm very fortunate to have with me Danielle McCreary from Rise Against Hunger. Danielle, thanks for coming in.
Of course.
So, I've gotten to know you and Mark a little bit over the last couple of months, and I'm really excited to outline a little bit more about what you're doing here in Woburn and beyond. So let's just start off by telling us a little bit about you and why you're here to talk with us today.
Sure. So I moved up from Alabama about 3 years ago. Roll Tide. I moved up because of Rise Against Hunger, actually. I was looking at grad schools around the area, and I was volunteering. I'm in social work, so I was volunteering all around. And I found this event that was hosted by a church in Alabama. And I signed up for one shift. They were packaging, I don't even know how many meals at that point. But I signed up and I came to the shift and I stayed all day. They couldn't get rid of me. I was having so much fun. I was like, this is really cool.
So that was your first experience?
That was my first experience. I stayed all day and I got plugged in through a girl that I knew, a sorority sister actually. And she was working at the time with Rise Against Hunger. And so I said, how do I get involved? I got to do something. So I was looking for volunteering or work, and just so happens they were looking for someone here in New England, and I was looking at grad schools here. So
it worked out well.
Yeah.
And you seem pretty excited because you're going to be wrapping up grad school.
I am.
Have you already, or are you in the process?
I actually got my degree yesterday, so I'm finished.
Well, congrats.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, well, congrats.
Thank you. Two grad schools, or 2 graduate degrees down.
Social work and
nonprofit leadership. Yep.
Excellent. Yeah. So your time, you had a great first experience. Yeah. Now you've made your way up here and had a little bit of experience on your belt with Rise Against Hunger. How's it going so far?
Going well.
Yeah.
I am the assistant program manager there. So my title really works with outreach. It works with existing partnerships and really working to make sure that each event is facilitated well. I facilitate a lot of the events and doing kind of the background work as well.
You probably wear many hats.
I do.
I assume.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys have recently moved, so I'm sure the outreach is almost a full-time job in itself right now?
Yes.
And you moved from?
Marlboro.
Okay.
Yes.
And how's the new location here in Woburn?
Oh, it's wonderful.
And where are you located, just so everybody knows?
Oh, gosh.
By Rent-A-Car, right?
Yes, and the Dave & Buster's is over there,
Yep.
Right? Yep, that area.
Okay.
So
wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice space. You guys have all the space necessary for making sure that events go smoothly, that's for sure.
It's a little bit different from Marlboro because we used to have a huge warehouse that we had all of our equipment and ingredients and everything. When we moved here, we started piloting a program where we used Tie Logistics here in Woburn, and they keep all of our extra ingredient. And so we have a smaller space here, but we also get that connection and that local connection with them, and they help us out.
How's that partnership been?
It's been really good. Good people over there.
I didn't realize that's what you guys had done, so that's good to hear.
Yeah. So.
Well, good.
It's been working out.
Well, a little bit about Rise Against Hunger. When did you guys form? What's your mission? Tell us a little bit about you and your organization.
Sure. So we actually started out as a disaster relief organization.
Okay.
Our founder, Ray Buchanan, was traveling overseas, and he had been doing hunger locally, but he said he saw hunger and starvation like he'd never seen before.
Really?
And so he started Rise Against Hunger, used to be Stop Hunger now, as a disaster relief organization, getting anything and everything we could and just handing it off to whoever we could hand off to. We have become a much different organization since then, putting in policies in place and really looking at hunger as it's not just because of disasters. You know, people are starving all over the world, and it's not just disaster relief. So we started doing just hunger relief. We still serve a lot of disaster circumstances, but we started working in schools, a lot of school feeding programs. We know that education is very important, right? Yeah. So getting kids in the schools, getting them fed. We're fighting that malnutrition issue, and we're also incentivizing schools so the kids are going to get their education. We're working in health clinics, working in orphanages, really where people are at their lowest.
Yeah.
So we moved from disaster relief to really hunger relief. And in 2005, we found this meal packaging program that we do now. It's really the bread and butter of what we do. We found another organization was doing it, and Ray said, how do I do this? You know, I want to get connected in with you. We're all about partnerships. Let's do this together. What do you want from me? And they said, you know what, we're fighting the same cause. Take it and run with it. So 2005, we started doing this meal packaging program as well. And just since then, it has grown tremendously.
I didn't realize that was the turning point of that partnership.
Yeah. So I think the first year we did maybe 1 million meals. I mean, we were like, whoa, like we've arrived, 1 million meals, that's crazy.
That is.
Last year alone, I think we did over 55 million meals.
Yeah, last year, I think I saw a statistic where you had 1 million volunteers or something of that nature. So to go from 1 million meals to 1 million volunteers.
It is crazy. The people that turn out and people coming together and saying, I'm going to do something today, it's powerful. Mm-hmm. So it's exciting for us.
And has your mission, I assume it has, evolved since essentially the foundation of the company, the partnership, into where you are now? What would you say, kind of in summary, is Rise Against Hunger, their mission today?
We've always, since I've known, we've always been to end hunger in our lifetime, which is a big goal.
It's a big goal.
It's a very big goal. But, working with as many people as possible, really making it a global movement, I really think that that's been the core the entire time, because we want to get as many people involved, because it is a world's problem, getting our elected officials involved, getting our communities, our corporations, our churches, everyone to come together for this global commitment. That's really our mission. Mm-hmm.
And to that point, I know you wanted to share a couple-minute video, and it really, for me, bridged the gap between a civic or an organization much like yourself and the actual people you're helping on like a day-to-day basis. That a lot of people that contribute, either financially or their time, will never realize. So let's just take a quick second to check that out, and we'll reconvene in a sec.
Sure.
It's a powerful video.
It is.
Certainly a powerful video.
Yeah, I really think that it just brings it all together. It closes that loop, like you said, bridging the gap.
For me, watching that was it. I realize what the organization is, and I've heard from you guys what you do, but to see it is just really sends it home. It's wow.
It's cool. If you've been to an event, which you haven't been to an event yet, right?
Not an active event. I came by the facility. I got to see how you packaged, but I didn't get to see the energy that was involved, the gong, that high bass music. I know you guys explained it, and I'm excited to see it in action.
Yes, we're excited for you. It's cool to see people really getting their hands in there, getting their hands dirty, and then we ship these meals from our warehouse here in Woburn that Ty Logistics loads for us. And it ships directly to the country. So they're the last people that are going to touch those meals. They're the last ones that are going to seal them and put in those boxes until it reaches somebody who otherwise would not have, which is, when I see that video, that's what I think about. It's really cool that you can volunteer locally and have that global change.
Impact, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things I found amazing when I did visit your facility, I believe it was you cooked up a couple of meals. Was that you, Daniel?
Yes.
So I got to try your meal, or the packaging, and how it's prepared in a few different countries in the world.
Right. Yeah.
You mind just elaborating on some of the different cultures, their spins
Yeah.
on it, and some of the products that go into the package?
Right. So I did do a little bit fancy.
Did ya?
So we did a Haitian meal, a Filipino meal, and I forget what the last one was. But I believe South Africa.
Yeah, I think that was
yeah.
one of the ones.
And so a lot of the programs that we send to, like I said, are school feeding programs or orphanages. And what they do is, our meal is very basic. It's got a lot of vitamins and nutrients in it. It's got a lot of protein, but the flavor is very basic, because if you don't have a lot on your stomach, you can't take a lot. And so our programs, it really allows them to add what they have and what they want. So they'll pull from local farmers, which is definitely what we want to encourage. And but a lot of the programs that I've seen have really just added oil and salt, not salt, just oil. And so it stays that basic meal, but it really feeds the necessities, you know. Some programs I know, so we have 6 affiliates now out of country.
Okay.
We have one in India, I believe. They're working with lentils now. So they're really catering it to their country's needs, which is pretty cool.
That is neat.
Yeah, so we're playing with that a little bit, but for the majority of what I've seen, it's been a very basic, just oil and the
Very
rice.
simple, right?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
goal is to make sure you don't go to bed hungry.
Exactly, exactly.
Absolutely.
One of our programs in Burkina Faso, the lady there, she's a nun, she works in an orphanage, and she actually she started growing bananas, and now she has a whole banana plantation. She's made money from that, and she also has another plantation with vegetables and a lot of maize and all this stuff that she feeds the kids with, along with our meals. And she sells it to be able to provide them with education and clothes and all the good stuff. So,
I'm sure you guys are seeing a lot of good,
cool.
and especially in very different places in the world,
Yeah.
like how they interact with you guys and the meals and what their spin on it.
Right.
And so have you traveled? Have you got to see any of
I
this
have.
hands-on? Do you mind sharing any of your experiences?
Sure. I went to Burkina Faso for the first time out of country. Went to one of the poorest countries, so that was an experience.
That's an experience.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Last May, actually, and I knew what I was going to see. You know, I thought I knew anyway, the poverty that I was going to see, like I'd never seen before. I give educational presentations at the beginning of every one of my little packaging events, and I talk about the world's most vulnerable, and I tell these stories that I've read, but I never experienced it, and just the people that I met and the stories that I heard just absolutely crushed me. But they were so appreciative and happy that people all around the world, they were coming together and packaging and raising funds for them that they would never meet. And that was very powerful for them. They cried and they said, thank you.
I never thought of it from that kind of a point of view.
Yeah, they were like, why?
Just thankful.
You know, like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
But and that was powerful for me. Actually, I met this 13-year-old girl who I will never forget. She was in a girls' home. She'd only been there for about 3 days. And, you know, we got to see all the different homes, orphanages, and whatnot. But this girls' home was very special because it brought in girls fleeing forced marriages. And, you know that stuff happens. But it's out of sight, out of mind for most of us. It was for me. And I work in the field. So we ate lunch with them, and one by one they started telling their stories if they wanted to, and through a translator we'd ask them questions and just kind of talk with them. And she said that she'd been there for 3 days, and she'd ran away from home because her dad had traded her for a goat to a 60-year-old man who had 6 wives already. I was not prepared for that. It absolutely crushed me.
I don't think you can't be prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, I cried in front of her, and I asked her how she had the courage. You know, I'm 28, and I wouldn't be able to do that. Just the clothes on her back ran away. But, you know, now she's in this home, and the nuns are taking care of her, and she didn't know that she was going to be taken in like that. She's getting fed these meals that are getting packaged here in New England, and she's learning to make soap. She's learning to sew so that she can sell it to the community, and hopefully will have a life for herself. Which is pretty powerful.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one story of a 13-year-old girl. There's so many more, but the courage that she had, and hopefully, you know, one day she will have a life that she wants, not one that was chosen for her. That's really the essence of who we're trying to benefit. So
There's a couple really powerful statistics, and I know we have a slide that kind of bullet points a few of them.
Sure.
Would you mind just going over them, because I know some of this is really powerful stuff.
Yeah. So I just want to start. So there are actually about 700, and I wrote my notes down, and 95 million people around the world that are chronically malnourished. And that doesn't mean just hungry's, stomach growling. That is, they are not getting enough nutrients in their day-to-day life, and that's about 1 in 9 people in the world, which is pretty crazy. And so this just kind of shows in 2016, one, it shows the power of the program, but also it shows how many lives were nourished because volunteers coming together, right? So that number is wild. 72% youth and nutrition education, that's all school feeding programs.
Okay.
So kids are getting nourished and getting the food that they need. And that's 72% of what we did in 2016.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, 62 million meals packed. So I said 55 plus. We're actually almost.
You broke that?
Yeah, broke it by a little bit.
By like 10 million, no big deal.
Yeah. But I mean, 376,000 global volunteers. That really, it's not, we have 150 employees. We do the work that we do because volunteers coming together and, saying, today I'm going to do something. I want to be a part of something bigger than myself. And I think that is really shown from our number growth. We get a lot of in-kind donations from corporations that really want to do more than just the meal packaging program. So that's helping with providing, whether that's aid as far as medical needs. We've sent over wheelchairs. We've sent over a car before. Any kind of donations that our programs, request, we try to get. Crisis assistance and 3,000 events globally. That's a big deal because that takes an event it can be anywhere from 40 people to 800, but here in New England, 15,000 meals is about our minimum. So you think about 3,000 events globally. One, that's a lot of meals, but that's a lot of manpower. It's a lot of volunteers coming together. So I really think this shows the power of the program and the power of the volunteers coming together and really, saying, I'm going to do something today.
And how many locations do you have? You might not know off the top of your head, but.
Yeah, so we have 20 locations in the U.S., and then we have 6 international affiliates.
Okay.
So we're really excited about our international affiliates because they get meals on the ground faster. It's in country there, so the people in the country are actually packaging meals, which is really cool. They're doing that local providing of meals. But when disaster hits, they're there. They can load them up on trucks and go instead of us taking a couple months and having to ship over. So we're excited. We're headed in that direction.
Wow. So where's your closest neighboring office? We're here in Boston.
We have one in New York.
Okay.
We also have one in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh. I believe those are our closest. We're doing a little bit of work in Canada. Okay. But we don't have a location there just yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Wow. That's some powerful stuff.
Yep.
So you guys you have a lot of people coming together for the greater good of humanity, really.
Right.
Just to benefit those that we don't know, those we might never meet.
Yep.
Those 13-year-olds just have a story that us as people will never just be able to understand.
Right.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
And the things that you don't think about, like clean water, I can't imagine not having clean water. And just education, school fees, like that little stuff, we're really trying to hit as many pieces of that poverty puzzle as possible. So, we've got programs that are working in agriculture and clean water initiatives. We've dug a good bit of wells in Africa, and so it's not just meal packaging, there's other outlets to get involved in as well. So we're really trying to provide as many opportunities as possible.
Okay. And so for New England, you guys are growing as a whole, but for your organization here, where do you see your vision? Are you expanding to more locations within New England by 2025? Like, what are you seeing for Rise Against Hunger?
Well, I don't think that we'll expand. Well, we may expand in numbers here in our New England location. I don't know that we'll expand more locations until way down the road. Right now, we're really looking. We try to cover as much of the U.S. as possible, but 20 locations, you can imagine it's quite a stretch, especially for like the middle of the country. It's tough. Those are a lot bigger than here in Massachusetts and Connecticut. So I think expanding in like Seattle and places that we don't have locations that can cover easily will be our first step as far as the organization wide. Here in New England, we packaged 1.7 million meals last year in New England and upstate New York, which is, you say 1.7 million meals, that's a big deal. Compared to the 55 million, it's a small chunk, but we're a smaller program within the organization. So, we're making big strides, and it's because of people coming out and saying, hey, this is a really cool thing you're doing. I want to be a part of it. Our goals for the future are really for the people who have volunteered with us or have heard about us to really spread that word. Because, cold calls, we all know how that works out, right?
Being on either end of the phone is...
Exactly. And so word of mouth and telling people the experience that you've had with us and the passion that you have for the problem, for the issue, and that there's an organization that can do something about it and that you believe in and that you think they should be a part of. I think that is the way we're going to grow. So we're really calling out to our champions to create more.
Speaking of those champions, tell us a little bit about some of the people you either partner with or events that you've done in the past that were a big success. I know some of the Rotary groups here, Bedford especially, has done a fantastic job partnering with you guys in the past.
Yes, they've actually done events every year, I believe, since 2013, and they've grown a little bit every year. This year, I think they did 60,000 meals, a little over 60,000, which is a big event.
What does that entail, just out of curiosity, between time and manpower to produce 60,000 meals?
Well, they do shift events, so you bring as many volunteers as possible. I mean, you have to kind of cap it depending on the location. But it's 29 cents per meal. So they provide that donation, they provide the location, the tables, and then they spread the word and get the volunteers to come. We bring all of the equipment, all of the big bags of rice and soy that we then put into smaller bags during the event. So all of the facilitation and the music and all the logistical stuff is on our end. They just have to find a space, a donation, and the volunteers. So, which is a pretty big task in itself, and we're very thankful for that partnership.
So just to get a visual, if I had 10 people, or we had, let's say, 25 people, and we had 2 hours, 3 hours, what are we going to get done? Or what does that look like? How fast? I know it's a quick process, but just trying to put numbers to it.
Right. So we say each bag holds 6 meals. So instead of you say 10,000 meals, it sounds like a really big, which it is, it's huge. But it's actually 1,700 bags, which makes it a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable. And that's our minimum. And so typically we can do a smaller minimum if we're in our warehouse or a closer location. But if, we do upstate New York events, so to drive that far, 10,000 is typically our minimum. But we say 40 people can do 10,000 in 2 hours.
So that's, I guess, in my mind, I was wondering, how does this work? How fast does it go? What's the process?
So it's doable. It may take 3 to 4 hours for 20, 25 people, but you know what? They might be faster than that and just knock it out. So, and with the music, the time flies. It's a lot of fun. It's for all ages, 6 to 106. I mean, anybody can do it. So that's what makes it fun. Families come together, communities come together, and you meet people. I mean, it's a cool experience.
What's the most amount of packages you've personally seen in a day? Or meals, not just
in a day or at an event?
At an event, either one.
So I've been a part of a container event, which is 285,000 meals. Which is pretty big. It's typically done over a couple of days.
One of those just big shipping freight containers.
We fill the whole thing, and we actually ship it from the location typically, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
You see it leave in the truck, and it's cool. So
that's a lot of meals.
The biggest,
And that took a couple of days, though.
And shifts all day long. So you had volunteers coming in and out. It was very similar to my very first event.
That one where you set up camp and stayed all day.
They couldn't get rid of me.
It was pretty much your interview, I think.
Exactly. So my founder loves that story.
As he should. He should.
Oh.
So I know that's Bedford. Do you have any other partners that are here in the area? Or any other big events that you've done that you'd like to highlight?
Sure. There's a couple actually. One is in Wilmington, Charles River Laboratories. They started packaging with us last year, and within the year they did 6 events, which is not the norm.
That doesn't sound like the norm. That's great though.
They loved it. I believe, they did 60,000 meals in 2016. And they actually have committed to a global million meal day this year, next month, which is huge. They're taking us all around the world. We've got the same day people are packaging through Charles River Laboratories 1 million meals. So it's exciting for us to see that growth.
And I know you guys have some big lofty goals for 2017.
Yes.
Stuff like that is what's really going to propel you to the next level.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we say any meal is beneficial. It really is. And those champions, like I keep saying, Charles River Laboratories has really become a champion for us and pushing forward. It doesn't always happen that fast. Sometimes it's a slow moving thing, but you know what? The more volunteers that get involved, it's about that commitment. You know, meals are wonderful and they're feeding people, but it's about getting as many people as possible involved. And I think that's what they've really shown. Pfizer is actually a great example too. They're doing 150,000 meals in October. They've done quite a few events with us as well. So, you know, you're seeing corporations come together. You're seeing schools. Northeastern might do an event with us in the fall as well. So you're getting really the younger group involved in this. It's really an introduction to volunteering.
How important is that local community essentially gathering to support a bigger cause? How important is that to you guys here locally?
You know, I think, well, I know Massachusetts at least has so many opportunities to volunteer locally, and they do such a great job. There's so many nonprofits that are coming together and doing wonderful work here in the community. And I think that's something that when I came up, I was like, wow. You know, I'm in the nonprofit world. I'm looking at all these organizations, and there's just so much opportunity. What I haven't seen is a whole lot of opportunity to hit the global level on a local scale. And so I think that's what really sets us unique, and it's the event in itself is just such a community event. Whether it's a corporation, people coming together for 2 hours during their workday and going back, and maybe it's just an office, or you know, it's the orientation at school where kids are getting to know each other in a hairnet. You know, that's a conversation starter in itself.
A conversation starter.
Yeah, so you know, I think at the local level, it's just a team building all around. It's community building, and you just the big picture is really powerful. So.
Well, I'm sold. How do we get involved? How do people out there get involved? Let us know. This is a couple of minutes. Do they contact you? Do they reach out to Mark? How does an organization or an individual, after watching this, say, I want to at least make an impact and help Rise Against Hunger?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple of ways. One, our website, riseagainsthunger.org.
Okay.
You can find our location contact and reach out to us and tell us, hey, you know, we saw you and we really want to get involved. We can work with you on meal packaging events. We also have volunteers that come into the warehouse. Maybe they can't do a meal packaging event, but they want to get involved somehow. So they'll come in and help us out on the back end of things, on organizing and cleaning and, you know, doing stuff like that really helps our day to day. We're also baby stepping into the advocacy world. So we're working on getting our legislators, really letting them know that this is an issue that we care about, and they should too, because it's a world issue. And so little things like that, we've got so many opportunities. So let us know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, give you a call, see what's going on, have a conversation at the very least, come see your facility.
That's right.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Well, Danielle, thank you for coming on. Is there anything that you'd like to share in closing?
No, I just want to say thanks for giving me the opportunity to share it out.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Great cause. I'm glad we could get you some airtime, that's for sure.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for watching today's show with Danielle McCreary from Rise Against Hunger. And remember, we all have one life to live. Let's all do our part. I'm your host, Tyler Gates. Join us again next time on the Woburn Spotlight.